Welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, we say we appreciate you so much. This is my favorite segment of the week as we take you back into the wild. And today it's International Lion Day. Stop lying around, get up and listen. So lions have been in the news quite a lot recently. Of course, we had 4 lions escaping from the Kruger, then being found again. A lioness in the wild taking in a leopard cub after its parents were killed. I hear an unprecedented act. Then, of course, heartbreaking. Cecil the Lion's son, Xanda, was shot in a tragic case of history repeating itself. Heartbreaking. Well, today being World Lion Day, we've invited into the show Fiona Miles, the director of Four Paws organization, to discuss why we should be taking care of these incredible apex predators. Fiona, thank you so much. You must have the best job in the world.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Yes, thanks for having me here. And it is one of the best jobs in the world. It's very rewarding.
Yeah, I mean, working with these majestic creatures, looking out for their well-being as well, putting them under the spotlight, man. Look at that. That is pride right there. I love it. So lions, they are threatened with extinction, but they're actually on the endangered list. Is that right?
They're not. Lions are not on the endangered list.
They're not?
They actually have almost no protection. Currently, they've been listed as vulnerable by CITES, and this basically opens them up for the possibility to be traded, to be bred with, to be hunted, all under permission and a permitting system. So they are in the wild very vulnerable and very threatened, and in captivity they're sort of being bred like factory.
Yeah, they're being bred to be killed. And we're going to get into the practice of canned lion hunting a little bit later, and we'd love to hear your perspective as well. 021-430-9881. But talking about those few lions that are still existing within the wild, and we know the wild is running out of space as well, and they need huge amounts of area to roam free and build prides. But why, and it might be overly simplistic, the question, but why do we need to protect lions in the ecosystem?
Well, as you said, lions are apex predators. They form an integral part of our ecosystem. That's from a sort of a logical point of view. Yeah. But if you look at a lion and you look at the way that they behave, they're the only big cat that forms a family community and a family system. They're very close to ourselves, in fact. Yeah. And their maternal instincts and bonds within their family are incredible. They have very strong protective feelings. They take very good care of their families, and I think that's something that should appeal to people's hearts, if nothing else.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Even leopards, occasionally.
Even leopards. But let's talk about this controversial kind of issue, the controversy around can hunting as a practice of conservation. But I mean, what exactly is can hunting, and does it actually do anything towards bettering the ecosystem around?
Canned hunting is, in principle, the act of shooting an animal within a confined space. In other words, hunting an animal where it has no possibility to escape.
It's not really hunting.
It's not hunting, it's shooting a fish in a barrel, basically. Yeah. It does not have any conservation value because, in principle, these animals are being bred specifically for that purpose, specifically for consumers to consume. So whether it's the act of cuddling a lion cub in a facility, what do? You go in, you cuddle a lion cub, you walk away and never think again what happens to this animal when it's grown up.
Wow.
So canned hunting and the whole captive breeding system is one that has absolutely no place in conservation whatsoever.
Yeah, desperately needs regulation. Please give us a call. We'd love to hear your perspective on this conversation, and maybe you've got a cool lion encounter in the wild that you want to relate to us. 021-430-9881. But right now, it looks like Sandcarb is about to get a massive shot in the arm or shot in the fin.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
All right, welcome back. So we just got into a very deep discussion with our awesome guest this morning, Fiona Miles, from a director, in fact, of Four Paws organization. She's all about the lions. She's part of the pride.
Yeah,
this morning. I love it. And it's International Lion Day, and an opportunity for us to really hone in on what you and I are discovering are the most shocking statistics around. Now, I've heard this being bandied about, and I'd like you to confirm it. Are there more lions in captivity than there are in the wild?
Absolutely. In the wild, there's just over 2,000 wild lions left in southern Africa versus what the official statement is from the government, more than 6,000 lions in 200 breeding farms in South Africa. We estimate, and if you have a look at the rate of breeding in these facilities, we estimate a lot more.
Wow. Wow, that is absolutely shocking. No, this is where you get involved. Exactly what are Four Paws all about, and what are some of the big cat projects that you guys have undertaken to make sure to look after these majestic
Finally,
creatures?
we've made you smile. I'm so sorry.
It is it's such a serious topic, and I think personally I take it very seriously because one of the reasons I got into this was because I saw the Cook report many years ago, which showed a lion being shot in front of her cubs.
Wow.
And that was something that was so devastating. So Four Paws is an international animal welfare organization, and we are campaigning internationally for seeing an end to the breeding and overpopulation of captive bred lions. And of course we set up sanctuaries in order to save. It's impossible to save those 6,000, but certainly to save as many as we can from not only canned hunting but also private keeping from very rundown zoos around the world. Imagine these animals also performing in circuses for entertainment and so on and so forth. So they've become commodities, and we really want to strongly see the lion be back in the wild.
Oh, thank you for drawing a line in the sand. Now we've got John joining us all the way from Kraaifontein. John, how are you doing, sir? What's your comment or your question?
Morning, Graham. Morning, everyone.
Morning.
I would like to know, why do they still allow people to hunt for lions?
Sorry, repeat the question there.
I would like to know, why does the state allow people still to hunt for lions?
A very good question. He's asking, why does the state allow people to hunt lions? 2,000 left in the wild. Why is this our reality, do you think?
I think the way that they've looked at it, and some studies have been done, but they've been very skewed, is the fact that they look at the total population. And they go, in total, there are 10,000 lions in the country, and therefore it's okay. The problem is that we've started to put human definitions on wild lions, wild managed lions, captive bred lions, and these differentiations make it very difficult, because a captive bred lion has no conservation value. It doesn't go back into the wild. It's not being reintroduced. And
It doesn't follow the normal
it doesn't
process.
follow the normal process. And yet the system of permitting to shoot those lions is what's making it tolerable
Money.
for. It's money.
Money is driving it.
boils
John,
down
thank
to
you.
it.
Very
Thank you
cool
very much,
question,
yeah.
man.
Looking at Africa as a whole, I mean, it's a developing country as well, with a lot of development taking place. How has that affected the population of the wild lions specifically, and what has happened with that? I mean, is that also maybe why there's this backwards drive towards canned and lion hunting?
Well, yes, I think there's been seen to be an opportunity, and of course, with an 80% decline in the wild lion populations over the last 20 years, that's obviously been caused by human encroachment, development, the areas and the ranges becoming much smaller, and of course that opened up an opportunity for the breeding to happen under sort of false pretenses. It's very much what we call the con in conservation, is people coming to South Africa to experience our wonderful, beautiful African thing, and where they're seeing our wildlife is in facilities and not in the wild.
And it's worth noting it's an African resource. It's one of our most precious resources, and we are destroying it. 2,000 lions left in the wild. That is horrifying. 021 430 9881. Please join us with a question or any comment to weigh in on the conversation.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. You are tuned into your Feel Good Breakfast Show. This is Expresso only on SABC3. Hope you have a brilliant Thursday with us so far. Very, very heavy conversation so far. It is World Lion Day. We are back with Fiona Miles, Country Director of Four Paws Animal Welfare Foundation, just to put the spotlight on these incredible, incredible animals. The statistics...
The rest of our pride.
Yes, our incredible animals right here, our pride, they're joining us right now. But I mean, some really shocking statistics coming out the chat this morning. But let's put it on a softer note right now. There's recently been an article about a lioness taking on a leopard cub and letting the cub feed on her. I mean, is this typical lion behavior at all?
I think for us as human beings, we don't get to see it every day. So an image like that is so heartwarming and heart-wrenching, because you think, what's happened to this cub? How is it that the lioness can be so? But actually, like I mentioned earlier, the lions are they pride. All the females in the pride actually nurse the cubs, and so this probably happens more often in the wild than what we're accustomed to. In a captive environment, in zoos, this method is often used more often than
like
not.
a surrogacy,
Like a surrogacy, basically to prevent that human interaction and bottle feeding. This is obviously the best nutrition for babies, and so that's what's promoted. So the wild will actually take care of the wild.
Wow.
And I think for me, this image just proves and shows that the message that's going out there to volunteers around the world and visitors from around the world to South Africa, that these lion cubs are orphaned and they need to be hand raised and so on. Actually, this flies in the face of it.
I love the fact that the wild will take care of the wild. We should stop interfering.
Exactly.
I mean, the wild should just be, and we should kind of nurture that.
Because I think, and both you and I can speak from our very privileged experience of being able to view and engaged in a very small way with wild in the wild, and how much better that experience is than going and cuddling a captive cub. When we look at it, just to break it down in ways that we can help and what we should focus on in terms of our own voice, what is the biggest threat to lions?
We are the biggest threat. Human beings are the biggest threat. Whether we come to South Africa or have tourism experiences and we participate in these activities like cuddling lion cubs, like hand raising them, volunteering, ultimately shooting them at the end of the day. We are the biggest threat. We need to, as you say, step away from them and let them be. So I think what people need to do is to start questioning and start asking questions about being a responsible tourist, being a responsible citizen towards our wildlife.
Sure, very much so. Okay, so humans are the biggest threat. Remember, if you have a call, give us a shout, 021 430 9881. That is the question. Do they have any other enemies out there besides us humans? I mean, that we may possibly should look after.
I think the natural order of things, of course, a crocodile can come in, but that would be that would be one of the few. But I think, they manage themselves, the way that the prides develop, the way that they split up. You were saying earlier on how they move, how lone males will then leave the pride and go and form their own prides. All of that should be able to take place. And of course, that's not happening when you're looking at a factory farm situation where you've got 10 or 20 males, large males in a pride. Those guys are all on death row in these breeding facilities. So I simply say we are the biggest threat.
Humans,
They don't even know that they are lions. And I love what you said. Those words will echo certainly within me. The wild takes care of the wild, and we have to now play our part and do the same. Thank you so much for everyone who's joined us online for this. John, thank you for your awesome questions so far. Please keep them coming. 021 430 9881.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
So Fiona Miles, an incredible human being, has been schooling us. She's been our teacher today, and our favorite teacher at that, talking about lions on World Lion Day. And we'd love to hear from you again, 021 430 9881. We can hopefully squeeze in a few more callers.
Absolutely. We've got a caller on the line right now. Roger, good morning.
Morning, Graham.
Hey, how's it? And Ewan is here this morning, and Fiona. Roger, I understand you've got a funny story to relate to us.
Yes, that's right. One day we decided to go to the Johannesburg Lion Park, and we planned to have a huge braai afterwards, and we had a whole lot of meat packed in the back of the boot. And then when we drove into the lion park, all the lions started walking behind us, and then the one he couldn't control himself. He jumped up and he took a huge uppie out the rubber spoiler on the back of the car, and he left a huge claw mark on the boot. So we quickly decided to make a very quick exit out the lion park.
I can just imagine what you guys must have been feeling in that car, eh?
Oh man, that's lovely.
I'm
sure you appreciated your braai later a whole lot more after that. But that hits the nail on the head. That is how you want to enjoy lions, a chance encounter in a true wilderness like the Kruger National Park, where there is ample space for lions to exist in their natural state. Now, I'm going to ask you to pull no punches here. What do you need? What does Four Paws need as an organization from the likes of you and myself and everyone watching?
I think the first thing we need is for people to educate themselves. Find out what you're doing in terms of being a responsible consumer of the lion product, because that's what we've turned them into, is commodities. So when we go to facilities and places, find out, are you going to an ethical sanctuary? So, for instance, the sanctuary that we run in the Free State Lions Rock is an ethical sanctuary. There's no breeding, there's no hunting, there's no trading, there's no lion cubs to pet, there's no human interaction. Ask the questions that you really need to ask to know that you're doing the right thing. And of course, the work that goes behind saving those lions that can be saved is incredibly costly. And so donations are very important. Organizations live purely on those donations. If people can't donate or give, make every day World Lion Day. Sign a petition, make your voice heard. What the problem here is that the lion, if you think about the roar of the lion, it can be heard for 10 kilometers. And we've taken that voice away from them. So I really think that if we can restore the lion's roar by every single person becoming an advocate for lions and standing up to our government and to others to say, let's protect them.
I mean, it's an animal that's supposed to make us proud, and it does make us proud, but it needs to make us proud in the right ways, in the right environments as well. And that's what our mindsets needs to be like that. So thank you very much for the work that you're doing. And yeah, we do hope that you get a massive influx of people to supporting your cause.
We'll continue to highlight this cause on our show. I love that International Lion Day every day. So nice to have you in on the discussion this morning,
man,
dude.
it was awesome.
It might have broken our spirits just a little bit, but I think it's inspired us all. Remember, just 2,000 lions in the wild. They need to be protected.